James Cargo Motorcycle Shipping sponsors Under the Visor.
My name's Chris Ireland. I'm better known as Desperate Dan from Desperate Dan's Custom Motorcycles. I used to build choppers and trikes. Now I'm into land speed record racing, and then God knows why, because I just fell off my bike on Pendine Sands. When I was a young lad, there was no such thing as a chopper, apart from in American magazines, and I was a paper boy, so I used to steal magazines from the paper shop when I was delivering all the others, and I saw these pictures of American choppers, so I went and built one. And then I found out that there was probably another half dozen people in the country that had also built their own choppers. So we went to a meeting at Santa Pod Raceway, which had only been open a year, and we're all sat there on our choppers, and people were coming up and taking photos and shaking our hands because we got one. Because the only bikes that had seen similar to that were in American magazines. Oh God, that's a terrific long story. I got this mate, and he'd been to see The World's Fastest Indian, and he watched the film, and he said Burt Munro used to piss in his garden. He had chickens, he had an old shed, he had an old bike, and my mate said, I'm going to do that, and he went. I said, you'll never do that so long as you got a hole up your arse. Well, the next thing, he's brought me a picture of him back sat at Bonneville Salt Flats. And he's come down my shed, and we sat there and got drunk. And he said, I'm going next year, would you like to come and watch me race? I said, watch you race? I said, that, I'm racing with you. And I built a bike. And the next year, there I am, I'm at Bonneville. This is the same bike, but having been to Bonneville, I learned a load of lessons about aerodynamics and not falling off, and built this. This is a 74-year-old Indian, which is now supercharged, and it's putting out 3 times the power of the original engine. When I was 18 years old, I rode into my work, the garage where I worked, on my chopper, and this bloke said to me, I know where there's an old motorbike in a barn. So the next Sunday we've driven out there, and there's half a motorbike, and the farmer had cut the front and back off and made a trailer out of it. And we got the engine back, and I wiped all the mud and rubbish off it, and it said Indian on the side. Right, and I paid £10 for it. But from that day, I was hooked on Indians. You know, can I say on here? Yeah, yeah, the Harleys. Indian, and Indian were always faster than Harley Davidsons. But this engine is 64 years old. It started off as a chopper, and then it became a show bike, and then it became a trike, and then once I met Oz and decided to go to Bonneville, it became a salt racer. But it's definitely not a sand racer, as you'll probably see by the footage of me falling off it. We never actually came here just to do a speed run on the bike. We came here because we've got a load of mates with us. We've come down in an old horse box, and there's 6 of us in it, and we've laughed all the way down here. We've met every other person I've met, I've shook hands with. You know, and it's camaraderie. It's not the, but the other thing is, it's like the old days at Santa Pod. When I first went, when I was a 16-year-old, you get down on the start line, and the whole of the spectators are all stood around the bikes, which won't happen for much longer, I can guarantee it. They'll end up with barriers up and health and safety. At the moment, this is a new thing, and it's not being regulated. The whole weekend's been brilliant, not because I got the bike here, but because I'm here with my mates. And to fire up the bike, and you see like 10 people will leap backwards when it fires up and go, fucking hell. But it's not about the actual running on the sand. It's about being with your mates and And the whole place is full of sand racing bikes. It's a salt racer that is built to go in a straight line. And when you race on the salt is like tarmac, right? So you can just launch and go. And yesterday, I ran it, and that was quite scary, because each time you open the throttle, the thing goes sideways. Today, I didn't even particularly give it any revs, but as soon as I did, the whole thing has gone sideways and fell on me. But the nice thing was, while I was laid there with the bike on top of me, it's still ticking over, so we know it runs all right on its side. But the whole weekend is not about just the bikes, it's about the people. Yeah, definitely, yeah. I mean, you look at the bikes that's here, and you've got a push bike that went faster than my Indian. You've got an electric motorcycle with a load of batteries in it. You've got people on road bikes, you've got people on purpose-built drag bikes. It's for everyone. Yep. It doesn't matter what you got. The other thing is that, like, some bloke turned up on this Honda 90 that's tuned to the hilt. I mean, it went faster than mine. But nobody laughed at it. Nobody said, God, he's got a Honda 90. People wanted to go over and shake his hand and say, nice one, mate. You know, you've done a good job on that. People came from France, Denmark. It's just a nice atmosphere. What keeps me doing it is not the bikes, it's the people. That's for definite. It's definitely not the bikes. I mean, the bikes are a mean to an end because you end up meeting the people. I mean, last night in the pub was absolutely amazing. You know, you meet that many people. Everyone seems to know each other. If they don't know you, they still come and shake your hand. You know, it's this like international camaraderie of biking. Well, this afternoon when I fell off my bike, that's only the third time I fell off a bike in my life. And once it's got me up, I'm thinking, right, I ain't going to race here anymore because it's on sand, but if I can get the thing back to Bonneville and race on the salt, which is like tarmac, then I'll be back on it again. But today I felt it was too dangerous. Something up here was telling me not to race. And when I fell off it, someone up there confirmed it. I've got a record that's held by a chap from Denmark, and I need to beat that. Got a supercharged vintage special construction. I bought the Speedo. That's about your lot. That's all that's off the shelf is a Speedo. and most of the pleasure is in building it. You know, and you're building it, and your mates come around your shed, and you have a few beers and do a few more bits on it. And oh, a supercharger would be nice on that. So you stick a supercharger on it, and the pleasure is most of the pleasure in biking is your mates. Well, to me anyway. Some people are complete petrol heads, and all they think about is the bike. But mine is the bike and my mates.
James Cargo Motorcycle Shipping sponsors Under the Visor.